Hello, family. Darlene A. Anderson here, entrepreneur, personal and professional development consultant, author, and your social media friend. I would like to take you guys into a Facebook Live that I did around the top of 2023 during a time when I was transitioning from what I thought would be the next 2 to 3 years of my life, definitely going into 2025. I hope you enjoy this and please give me your comments on the message. Delayed is not denied. So I wanted to come out and chat a little bit about the title, Delayed is Not Denied, right? So I want to chat just about just the latest happenings and share. You all know me for the past decade and plus years, and my transparency, just sharing is caring. It also helps if you can share your testimony to help uplift someone in their time of need, then you are doing God's work. So I'm always here to not just consult, to coach, but to share and be of service to the Lord, right? So here we go. This past couple of weeks, I've had some hurdles that I've had to just kind of like jump over bit by bit by bit by bit. And I found myself in a situation where I had planned to go into 2023 in a certain type of way. I had my academic stuff planned, I had my work stuff planned, my personal stuff planned, and God just said, okay, scratch all of that. This is what we're doing, right? So just to give you the backstory to everything, many of you know that I'm back in school for my master's in mental health counseling. I'm very excited about it. I don't think I've been excited about anything in my adult life outside of giving birth and, just like some small things that I've done that I'm like, okay, wow, you work for something and you're like, wow, I did this. But returning back to school for my master's is something that I felt in my spirit that I wanted to do, that I'm super excited about. Many of you that know my professional history, you know that I've been in the field of social services for a number of years. And from that, I've transitioned into coaching and consulting based on those skills. Like I really learned a lot in the past maybe 25, 26 years or so in working with various populations of people that I've used to apply those skills into coaching. Now that said, I always said, and you guys know me, that I never had a desire to return back to school for my master's. I just felt like it wasn't needed for me. Kudos to anybody that has done it, because it is a great success and you can go further with a degree in anything, whether it's like your associates, your bachelor's, your master's, certifications and vocational training. Those certifications will help you in life, and God says we're supposed to dominate in any field. So I always take my hat off to people that go back to school. But for me, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. I felt like I could still do what I was doing without having a degree. Then I decided one day, I think this was like 2017, I got up one day and was like, I love the Lord. I'm going to go to school for my master's in divinity. I just jumped up and said, this is what I'm doing, right? So I registered for school for my master's in divinity. At the same time, I think I was in my second year of entrepreneurship, not having a 9 to 5, really working and living off of the sweat of my own brow. I quickly learned that if you are going to go for your master's, you have to have a lot of things in place, and it can't just be passion. You have to be a good manager of your time, your studies, so on and so forth. I just was not ready for that adventure. So what wound up happening is I did the one class for that semester, and I learned a lot. It was, I believe, like social ethics, I think, from a Christianity perspective and working in inner city communities. And I learned, again, so much in that class. But after that class, I was like, I'm not ready for a master's program. And I decided that maybe it just wasn't for me. So now fast forward, I got myself acclimated with my business, and I said, okay. One day I sat and I said, all right, I think I do want to go back to school for my master's in mental health counseling. This was last year, around 2022. I said, at the top of the year, I'm going to go back to school for my master's in mental health counseling. In my undergrad, when I was like a young lad, I took a lot of psychology classes. I've always been attracted to learning about the mind and behavior, and really how I can contribute to our communities as it relates to trauma and just different things, thought patterns, not even just with within our race of Black and brown individuals, but just across the board, because there are some things that transcends like race, age, color, all of that good stuff, right? I wanted to learn about the mind. So I said, I'm going back to school, and it was a lot. I registered. It was a very rigorous process, a lot of assessments, a lot of recommendations. Shout out to my mentors out here who really supported me along the way and coached and guided me. But I wound up registering successfully into school for the fall for my master's in mental health counseling, with a set date of when I would graduate, and what I would do going into my practice and all of that good stuff. I was excited about it. I had the whole year. I'm gonna do this by the time I'm 50. I'm gonna have a party. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna have my practice. I was just like, Semester came, I did fairly well. I got reasonable, good grades. I surprised myself, but I was very, very dedicated to it. And when I say I was surprised, because anybody returning back for their master's in their late 30s, their 40s, their 50s, it's hard. You have your families, you have your life. If you're working, whether it's a 9-to-5 or entrepreneurship, you have all of these things in place. You may be caregivers for your parents. It's just a lot. And on top of that, you have these studies, and no one cares about that. No one cares about your life. Just do your papers, show up for class, and do these tests. And that's what I dealt with. And I went really, really hard. And the semester ended, and I said, okay, praise God, it's finished. Now let's move into 2023. And I promise you, instantaneously, after I did my papers and I got my grades, my entire life shifted. It shifted. I am not able to register for school for this spring. I'm dealing with a lot of family, personal things as it relates to my mom needing me to be available for her. There are some other factors, and I sat back and I was like, God, you gave me this vision. You told me that if I returned back to school, that this is what you would do. I'm being obedient. Now I'm faced with my time is being pulled in other directions. And of course, whatever I have to do for my family, I'm going to 100% do. But on the same note, what about this vision? What about what you gave me? What about that whole 2025 thing? What about before I'm 50, I'll do this? And God said, this is what I'm calling you to do now. And what's delayed is not denied. So I shared this story to say, are you pressed with something where you feel that God has given you a vision, but it's not happening within your time frame? It doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. What's delayed is not denied. More so means as long as you believe in your spirit and your heart that this is what God is calling you to do. It doesn't matter if it's tomorrow, if it's next week, if it's a year, 2, 3 years, as long as you continue on that road, that journey that He has assigned you to, it will happen. For me, it was a little bit more because He said, you know what? You're not returning back to school this semester, but you're going to work it out. You're going to go back. Maybe you have to double up on some classes, but I need you to coordinate these things for your mom and other things that you have to do. And as you're working on these things, I'm also giving you this assignment as well. So He gave me another assignment, which actually ties into the things that I have to do ultimately to have a practice. So many of you know having a practice, and when you are any type of clinician, meaning like social services, mental health, even when you're providing things as a care coordinator or just helping in your community, you're a community provider, there are a number of things that you have to do before you can provide that service. When people come in for counseling, sometimes they need to sit down and just talk about putting things in perspective for time management. Sometimes they need just coaching. Sometimes they need accountability. Sometimes they need for you to help them navigate systems. Those are the things that I do independent of going to school for mental health. And God has called me to continue on that assignment as I am doing the other things that I have to do from my family or putting other things in place, and trusting that one day I'll be able to go back to that assignment and finish and hopefully be Dr. Anderson. That's a story in itself. So I wanted to come out here and just share those things with you all, because I'm sure that there's somebody out there that feels like they can see the vision, but it's so hard to get to it because there's so many different things in the way of that. Hold on to that. Move forward with everything else that God is calling you to do around that thing. And if you just take little steps and trust that what he's telling you to do, he's working on that other piece, that you will get there eventually, then hopefully, you'll get to the place of receiving what that vision is and bringing it into fruition. Again, what's delayed is not denied. So that is my little smeal on today. I also invite you to follow Darlene A. Anderson's Entrepreneurs page. We are sharing a lot of great things from past events, the making of moguls. I've actually put up some audios from my prior podcast, The Power Zone with DU. You'll get to hear great guests that we've had and just really help you along your day and to be further inspired in this world. There's so much stuff that's going on in this world, while we have to continue in our assignments. God never said it would be easy, but he said that he would keep us and be with us. So I hope that I can continue to be a vehicle along your journeys in that. All right. God bless.